Hi, welcome back to the channel. This is Wasabi, and this is a battle from the recent Clan Wars campaign, Metal Wars. And in this particular battle, we're up against Clan B4B0 or B4B0, which is a primarily Japanese clan, but yeah, multinational. Okay, we're on the south spawn on the Lakeville map, and we'll talk about how the battle progresses. So we've got a mixture of heavy tanks with one RT1 EBR and one 907. So we're currently following Toasty in his chieftain and just taking up a position to see if they can spot tanks moving up from the north down into the city. The EBR is going across to try and spot those tanks. So far nothing been seen apart from the enemy EBR. So no opportunity to shoot it yet because he's right in the middle of the city and blocked by all the buildings from this particular position, of course. And yeah, DPR's also spotted another chieftain right at the end of the map. The 90 on our side is just going back to cover the valley and just make sure we get awareness if they're pushing or peeking over the top. And the EBR's come back to scout the other side. The heavies are collecting around the J0 position, just waiting for a sign of which particular area that the enemy is going to be in. So we might just speed up this part and get to a bit later in the battle. So the EBR scouted and spotted an object 279E back in the corner. Now a few minutes into the battle and nothing's been seen just yet, so that's a good sign that the enemy's camping, at least at this point, until perhaps they figure out where we're trying to push and maybe push back. So Toasty's just moving up at this stage. Let's go back to normal speed, stop you getting seasick, and if we don't spot anything from that position with the map control of perhaps 2/3 of the map and maybe even more, that just indicates that yeah, they are camping in the corner. So at this point the heavies are moving up as well to yeah, basically claim the position. There was no enemy in the middle of the map, which probably would be if they were taking an aggressive position. Toasty's just having a look at the railway bridge there. Sometimes you can see a train crossing. That's not always going to happen, but not sure if that's why he's looking at that spot. But he's yeah, just pushing a little bit further just to see whether he gets lit or in fact lights someone else up. So at this point, nothing further's been seen apart from those original 3 tanks. So Toasty's just moving up fairly carefully, just hoping only the top of his turret can stick out. And again, nothing spotted, so it means nothing really across in the sort of C6 area, or sorry, A6 area I should say. And the EBR's just yeah, again scouting the valley part, which is not on normal way the tank should move really because of the slowness of the terrain there. But again, it's just spotted the enemy EBR. So Toasty in pushing forward is really just clearing the vision for the tanks at the area where they're assembling, and they're just basically waiting for information about whether to push. So the EBR's doing his job. Derpy gun, he's lost a little bit of health, but that's not that surprising. But clearly he's showing that the enemy hasn't pushed over just yet, or whether they're doing. There's a bit of blind firing going on from the heavies coming out of the town just to either knock down cover or blind fire well-known bushes. Toasty's just being a bit careful coming around the corner unless there's something in the buildings that is just getting some vision of. And going into third-person mode just to yeah, try and get a better view of what's going on. But again, if your tank's not lighting them, then you won't get any more information about where they are. So it's just pulling around. It's now getting a bit more confidence that they're not there in the corner. And the EBR's come back to basically try and do a quick run. So now the first tank on the corner's been spotted. That's another 279. So we know there's two 279s there now, at least. But again, this 10v10, and we've only spotted 4 of the tanks. So there's 10 of the enemy tanks are basically either around the corner or behind the rock at the A2 position. And that's always a possibility if you're pushing out from this corner, that they'll come around that side and basically get in a cross shot into you. But luckily for Tasty, no one's poked around that area yet, and he's just basically waiting for more tanks to push up and get their guns into play. So just taking their time, but moving out to basically either push the enemy back because they don't want to get exposed to that fire. And Tasty at this point is just almost on the cap circle. In fact, he's just about to kick off the cap timer, I should say. So that brings out the evidence that the tanks are there waiting for him at 279s, and so Tasty's trying to aim for weak spots. He would have been better going for the front plate, the top of the front plate on the side. It's a well-known weak spot, but nonetheless, by putting fire in, he's both keeping them back and also lining them up. And Tucker's come in to position with his 279, basically to block Toasty, and more tanks are coming onto cap and gone around the back. So yeah, this is basically going to be a bit of attrition here. They're trying to knock it down, but the enemy's also pushed down while this is happening onto the our base. So this is really going to be a matter of clearing these particular tanks out and making sure that our cap counter doesn't get overwhelmed. At this point, Toasty's doing pretty well because he's not taken too much damage, so he's managed to keep most of his capture points, except the fact that he got hit on the tracks there. So now it's pretty much a waiting game, and also to defend this area. So Stewy JP has gone on to the middle road to make sure that the 9-0s from the enemy team don't come back up, and this has managed to be a victory. So short and sweet. Well done, boys.